This is Computer Insider, Canada's award-winning television series with Bob Pritchard. This week, we look at early educational programs which help children expand both their developmental needs and safety awareness. We'll also see in-your-face game technology, which takes full advantage of multimedia techniques. This week on Computer Insider. Computer Insider is brought to you by AST Computer. You'll like the way we work. Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.
Thank you very much for joining us again this week on Computer Insider. Well, we often all wonder about how safe our data really is. A sad story coming out of the United States this past week talks about how a 16-year-old youth managed to get into the computer network at an Air Force base in New York State, and once into that computer system, was able to access over 100 other systems, including South Korea's Atomic Energy Institute. Now, what that youth did is he got into the Atomic Center in South Korea, took the information and offloaded it over to the American Air Force Base. I suppose that was quite a surprise for the MIS people at the Air Force Base. At any rate, he's been charged with mischief on the internet. Another story I wanted to pass on to you has to do with Carnegie Mellon University. What they've done is they've passed a regulation now at the university barring students from downloading or accessing sexually explicit information on the internet. Their concerns are twofold. First is that they may be putting some of the other female students in jeopardy by allowing this sort of information to be available to the students, presumably in the libraries and whatnot. And the other aspect is that they feel they may be infringing upon issues I think that as a society we have to come to deal with. And no doubt as some of our regulators become more involved into what's happening online, they'll have different ideas about what we should or should not do, and no doubt put in some sort of an online internet police to keep track of what we're doing and keep us from being nasty people. We'll keep you apprised of those details as they happen on Computer Insider.
Computer Insider's Industry Insights has been brought to you by QMS, Seamless Network Printing.
I still remember the very first computer-based game I got. It was a thing called Pong, where you moved two little knobs which controlled two paddles on screen and you played a form of virtual tennis. At my recent trip to COMDEX, I saw a new generation of games coming which are based on movies. In fact, the game that really caught my attention was called Blown Away, and it's based on the movie Blown Away and features many of the actors from that movie on the computer-based interactive game. So without further ado, let us get blown away on Computer Insider.
Blown Away is really the sequel to the MGM movie of the same name that appeared this past summer. It is now an interactive game that includes, that picks up where the storyline left off. You are a member of the Boston Bomb Squad, your name is James Dove, and it's your objective to save hostages, 4 different hostages, by navigating through a series of 14 different environments and solving 22 different mind-challenging puzzles. By being an interactive game is the fact that it's you against a villain, and depending on your actions and you're trying to save hostages is how the game is going to turn out. You're navigating through 14 different environments, and the villain is one step ahead of you each way, challenging you and taunting you to solve these various puzzles. What's great about this game is that it's not a Twitch game that just encourages kids to shoot things and shoot, spaceships and that kind of thing. It's not a role-playing game where you need 200 hours and a free weekend to do it from start to finish. What's great about Blown Away is that you can practice each individual game off the main menu, build up a strategy, learn how to play those games better, and then sit down and try to get your best score by going through the entire game. Blown Away features what we call in-your-face video. Video is always full screen, it's never in a small window, and the games are very challenging, and the technology, the 3D environments are rendered beautifully, and it's just a fabulous game to be able to play. We're getting a lot of attention here at the booth just for the technology that's used, and it's all proprietary technology. No off-the-shelf packages are used for any reason. What you need to use Blown Away is a 486 computer with 8 megabytes of memory. You need no special video card, no special monitor, no special hardware other than your personal computer, as long as it's a 486 chip with 8 megabytes of memory.
It's amazing how these games are becoming more and more powerful. There are a few things you do have to keep in mind though. A better machine makes things work faster, better being more powerful. In fact, recent studies say that most home computers now are a 46 or bigger type machine, because with the recent price drops, it's put the box in the reach of many more families. So if you're out looking for a computer, remember, the more powerful the processor, the better the system will be for you in the long term. Speaking about better, we have our Facts on Demand system waiting for you, and it has all the better computer industry news. That's the first number you see on the screen. Remember, it's updated every week, and it's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. All you have to do is dial in. It's best to call from your fax machine if you're outside the metropolitan Toronto area. Also, as always, we like to hear from you and what you're doing with your computer technology. So drop us a note to the second number, that's our fax mailbox. Coming up later, we'll be showing you how to make Christmas cards on Computer Insider.
If you want to attract more business, you've got to work together. We all have our own special visions of where we want to be and how we want to work, wherever we are. At AST, we build computers to meet your worldview with award-winning products, service, and support. From notebooks to super servers, AST Computer. You'll like the way we work.
Today's marketplace demands more information delivered faster than ever before. D-Link helps make that happen. D-Link manufactures network interfaces. D-Link connects computer systems with bridges and routers. D-Link writes network management software. D-Link manufactures computer networking and internetworking products to bring this world closer together. D-Link Corporation.
When John Nagy joined CompuServe, he was new at computing and an old hand on the mountain. He joined to get more out of his computer and more out of life. On CompuServe, as on the mountain, there was always something to discover. Like the solution to a software problem that wasn't in the manual, or being one of the first to know about that special vacation spot and how to save time and money getting there. The mountain was a source of satisfaction he would never outgrow. In a way, a lot like CompuServe. For more information, call 1-800-554-4088. Start with the basics, news, travel, and encyclopedia, and more for just $8.95 a month. Then go beyond for free software and help with hardware and software problems. You'll get more out of your computer and more out of life. CompuServe, the information service you won't outgrow.
It wasn't all that many years ago that I had an opportunity to see my first early education software program. It was a package called Treehouse, which allowed the child to play with the animations on the screen and move the characters into tree houses or music centers or whatever. At the recent COMDEX trade show we were at, we saw a whole raft of new technologies, again going back to this new level of interactive multimedia that's happening. And they had what they call in-your-face video, which means that basically the entire computer screen is used to develop the image and the animations to get the message across. We saw a couple of products which were very well suited to very young children. In fact, if your child is at that era of their life where they'd like to play with, let's say, a Fisher-Price level type game, there are computer-based technologies which will allow them to be able to do that. And we'll see them now on Computer Insider.
We have 5 children's programs that we've introduced this fall, and 3 of them are in conjunction with Time Life, and 2 of them are with the Mayo Clinic. One of those that we've done in conjunction with Mayo Clinic is called Safety Monkey. It's for 3 to 8-year-olds, and it's about a family of monkeys that live in a place called Swingland. And Swingland is kind of like suburbia. There are 16 different locations where safety is taught, some of it in the bathroom of the home, some of it the swimming pool at the local park, at the school. They learn all about bicycle safety and about safety in the car. Games are intertwined, and so are music for each of the different segments. And it's all done to a Caribbean feel. It's absolutely a wonderful product.
Oh, keep walking tall, don't wanna see you fall. Safe walking's what I'm talking about. Always cross with the green, make sure that you're seen. Safe walking's what I'm talking about. Before you step into the street, you better look left, right, left. Safe walking's what I'm talking about. Safe walking's what I'm talking about.
We make a children's keyboard for children 2 to 6 years old that introduces them to the world of computers. It has large keys on it, it's got a telephone, it's got color keys. It also comes with interactive software. With the interactive software, the children can use the keyboard to call the characters up on the phone, see what they're doing. They can use some of the keys to change the weather. They can use the color keys to change various scenes on the computer screen.
Children's programming, I believe, is very important, especially in the age ranges of anywhere from 5 to 11, because parents are so concerned about making sure their children are computer literate and making sure their children have the best access to the most latest information. There are elements of health and safety that parents want their children to learn, and those are the types of things we're trying to capitalize on. We've done a lot of focus groups that tell us that parents are so concerned about their children learning those elements of safety and life lessons that we've focused in that area and have absolute confidence that we'll do well there.
The software is the great concert. What you can do here is you can play the keyboard with the color keys at the bottom. You can change the weather in the background. You can call the characters up on the phone. Use the roller. The faster you roll this, she'll ultimately fall down. You can go visit some of the other musical instruments, play them, change the weather.
I think children's education software is going to grow to a point where a lot of middle-class families spend a huge amount of their income on making sure that their children have the utmost in that realm. Currently, we're able to see that not only top-end income levels of people are purchasing CD-ROMs and the entertainment education software that goes with it, but middle-class families are moving into it in a big way right now, too. So I think it'll be very pervasive throughout all of society very soon.
This is Buddy's fire station. Who's calling, please?
Jerry.
Oh, hi. I can hear you playing the flute in the background. I can play too.
This is one of the segments of Safety Monkey that talks about safety with Safety Monkey and how he should not let strangers know that he's home alone, that his parents aren't there. And so here, he's communicating to the salesman that calls in that his parents aren't available now, instead of telling him that they aren't home.
That is the safe way to answer that call.
Banana! Hi, Daddy!
Hi, son.
And then his father comes home and everything's safe and he's done it correctly.
Hi, who is this, please? Hello to you, too. I see you're listening to the music of the piano. It's my favorite kind of music.
The games we saw at COMDEX were absolutely fascinating. The ability to put full motion video in front of children and have that video react to whatever the actions from the child were at the keyboard. It's also important to remember that not only young children need computer input, as the child gets older, you need to add in more software to address the needs of each specific age. We saw other products that deal with the parenting of children at various age groups, 0 to 2 years, 2 years to 5 years and whatnot, on a CD interactive type basis, so that as a parent you'd be able to sit down and to track how your child was doing in terms of development. Also remember, as the children get into school, grade school and high school, it's a good idea to get some application programs. For the younger years, there's things like Creative Writer from Microsoft, which is a very entertaining way to develop letters. And of course, as the child gets older, you can move into the basic standard applications like word processing and spreadsheeting and data management. If you get the tools into your household, it's reasonable to expect that the children will get a good grasp on how to use them. Speaking about a good grasp, we have a good grasp of the weekly news on our fax and demand system. It's a free service from Computer Insider to you. All you have to do is dial in from your fax machine if you're outside of Metro Toronto, and we'll send that information back down the phone to your fax machine. And as always, we'd like to hear from you and what you're doing, so send us a note to the fax mailbox. Coming up a little bit later on, we'll be talking to Ed Cloutier of Banyan Systems right here on Computer Insider.
Only sharp presentation systems deliver the winning combination. Don't miss your next opportunity. Get the sharp edge. From a family of incredibly vivid computer projection panels to our convergence-free LCD projectors, you too can have multimedia presentation power like never before. Up to 16 million colors in computer, video, or combined. Sharp presentation systems and you, the winning combination.
Two days until the presentation. Plenty of time to pull it all together.
Hi, Marcy. Sorry, the deadline moved up 24 hours. See you in the morning.
Looks like a long night ahead. With her AST computer, she'll make it on time. AST computers in support for a winning performance. From notebooks to super servers, AST computer. You'll like the way we work.
When John Nagy joined CompuServe, he was new at computing and an old hand on the mountain. He joined to get more out of his computer and more out of life. On CompuServe, as on the mountain, there was always something to discover. Like the solution to a software problem that wasn't in the manual, or being one of the first to know about that special vacation spot and how to save time and money getting there. The mountain was a source of satisfaction he would never outgrow. In a way, a lot like CompuServe. For more information, call 1-800-554-4088. Start with the basics, news, travel, and encyclopedia, and more for just $8.95 a month. Then go beyond for free software and help with hardware and software problems. You'll get more out of your computer and more out of life. CompuServe, the information service you won't outgrow.
One of the nice things about having a computer is the ability to make very friendly, creative, innovative types of objects. For example, instead of going to the store and buying a Christmas card or a birthday card or whatever, you have the opportunity with modern technology to do that on your home computer. Today we're going to go into Corel Draw. Let me fire it up for you. And we're going to have a look at how we can make a Christmas card on Computer Insider. When we start the program off, what happens is we start using a full screen editor in Corel Draw, and we're going to go inside and pick out some Christmassy type of files. We'll go down, and I know in the miscellaneous directory there's a whole number of files, so we'll just click onto the snowman, and then that way we'll be able to select a snowman type image. Now, as you can see, it's a little big for our Christmas card, so we're going to shrink it down, and we did that by clicking on the corner and moving it up so that the whole image became somewhat smaller. And we're moving it up into this quadrant of the card, remembering that ultimately we want to have our Christmas card so we can fold it across. Once we have the image the size we want, and remember we can adjust it later, what we're going to do is add a little bit of text. I mean, the whole idea of building your own Christmas card is to be able to put in personalized text. So what we're doing is we're typing up across the screen here a little bit of a personal message. Now, a couple of rules for you. First of all, you should always, always, always use your spell checker, and that's what we're going to do here. This is the spell checker within Corel Draw. There were no typos, everything's fine. It renders or rewrites the screen for us. Now we're going to put in another little bit of a message for you down across the bottom, and we'll put it down into this area here so that we'll have, again, a very pretty card that we can work with. Remembering, as always, that all the text and all the objects that are on the screen can be adjusted at any time in terms of the size, the color, the fonts, and any of the other attributes. In fact, a little bit later on, I think we'll go in and show you about how to adjust all those things. We have our text. We have the ability to adjust it, as I had mentioned. And now we're putting in a text box down in this corner here. Remembering, when we fold the card on this kind of a plane, that this will be an inside page within the computer, or within the card itself. Remember, we can always readjust the location of these objects later on, and the orientation, whether it's facing up or down, left or right. And as I said, this is a personal card. So take a few minutes and put a personal message in so that the people that you're sending it to will get that much of a warmer feeling from you for Christmas. We finished with this. We're going to go into the edit box now, and this will allow us to do editing on the text. Now, as we come in here, we're going to center it because I like things centered on cards. In this box is our font, so we could adjust whatever font we want to have in there. And over in this section here, we're just adjusting the point size, so our text will be bigger on the card in this little box over here when it's all done. Can we change that? Yeah. Let's make that a little cleaner. Looks fine. Spell check. Remember, always, always, always spell check your documents. It's absolutely vital. And we'll start on the start spell checking, and I think it's found a typo on us. Yes, we'll correct that. One L in holiday. What can I tell you? We were typing in a hurry here. Once all of this is done, we can go back and work on it. We'll change the font size and the color. We're all set now, and I think things are looking really good. So let's head back over to the studio and talk about the technicalese. I think if I was going to say any one thing about working with a graphics package is to take time to get it working properly and don't get too frustrated with it, because they are somewhat more complicated than word processing or spreadsheeting. Speaking about less complicated things, we have our fax on demand system all set for you. All you have to do is dial into the system and we'll send you out the latest computer industry news. Remember, it's available to you 7 days a week, 24 hours per day, so don't be afraid to dial in. Coming up, we're going to be meeting with the gentleman who is in charge of Banyan Systems here in Canada, Ed Cloutier, to find out about networking and internetworking in enterprise organizations on Computer Insider.
Only Sharp presentation systems deliver the winning combination. Don't miss your next opportunity. Get the Sharp Edge. From a family of incredibly vivid computer projection panels to our convergence-free LCD projectors, you too can have multimedia presentation power like never before. Up to 16 million colors in computer, video, or combined. Sharp presentation systems and you, the winning combination.
Today's marketplace demands more information delivered faster than ever before. D-Link helps make that happen. D-Link manufactures network interfaces. D-Link connects computer systems with bridges and routers. D-Link writes network management software. D-Link manufactures computer networking and internetworking products to bring this world closer together. D-Link Corporation. Computer Insider is brought to you by Maxell. Every Maxell computer product is 100% tested, certified, and guaranteed for life to ensure that your precious data will be completely safe. Maxell, always a generation ahead.
When we look at the computer industry, there's an awful lot of very familiar names: IBM, Compaq, AST, Microsoft, WordPerfect, Novell. But there's another layer of company that stands behind these firms, companies that support, they interconnect computers. One of those companies is called Banyan Systems, and they supply what would be referred to as a backbone to the system, a networking operation, so that one area can talk to another area within the same organization. Ed Cloutier is the Director of Operations for Canada and Latin America. And Ed, I was wondering if you could start off by telling us a little bit about what Banyan Systems does.
Banyan's role is to try to specialize in solving specific customer requirements. In the marketplace, there seems to be a growing need for different kinds of networking. Personal networking, where people are using access to the internet or using their fax board to communicate, that's very different than small group networking, which is also, again, very different from what we call enterprise networking, grouping large numbers of people across geographical boundaries with more than one server, more than one site, more than one application to do. Banyan's role is to specialize specifically in the enterprise networking aspects of helping large groups work better together.
Ed, I was wondering, could you give us a specific example that might show us what you mean by an enterprise system?
The best way to describe enterprise networking is to give you an example, perhaps. Take Cott Beverages, a worldwide company who's not that large in terms of people, but they have a lot of things that they want to do with their network to unify their company. They have electronic mail that wants to be able to move from end to end and address everyone in the company. They will have applications that are going to want to share common data to be able to move product and information from one side of the company to the other. They have a lot of different things, including wanting to use their network in a way that's easy to use and easy to manage at the same time. So it's not necessarily just size, but it's the need to use the network to bind the whole company together is what we call enterprise networking.
I hate to ask you to do this, Ed, but could you peer into your crystal ball and tell us what you think will be happening in the world of PCs and networking and internetworking, let's say 5 years down the road?
Well, specifically a large use of using their PCs for more of a communications use as opposed to any kind of a computer use. More and more the PC is becoming the general purpose communicator of the world. In fact, more people use their PCs to communicate today than to actually compute. So more and more that's going to become the trend, where the computer is going to have to be connected to be able to function in any meaningful sense as a personal productivity tool.
From where we're sitting, it must be awfully difficult to develop a single operating environment that would coordinate the activities of such a diverse marketplace of computers, whether they're DOS-based or Windows-based or Mac-based or Unix or any of the other operating platforms. Could you tell us a little bit about how Banyan coordinates all these types of different environments?
PCs are running a lot of different operating systems and a lot of different hardware platforms. We see that diversity of operating system, of application, increasing in the future, not decreasing. Some customers want to standardize everything, but more and more, the larger they get, the more that they see a need to use different kinds of operating systems. We think that the network is the place where all that information has to come together so that people with different tools will be able to share common information and share a common infrastructure for running their business.
Ed, I was wondering if you could go over a little bit more detail with us about this whole concept of enterprise networking.
Enterprise networking is really the sum of all the different layers of networking below. There are lots of good companies who create personal productivity tools, and Microsoft, Novell, IBM are companies who have been creating these technologies for a long time to come. We assume that they and other companies like Apple will have strong presences in those marketplaces. To us, the enterprise network really needs to be the Switzerland of the computing world, helping those technologies work together. And we assume that Microsoft and Novell will create good products that people are going to want to have. Banyan's mission is to help those products work together in an enterprise networking setting.
Thank you very much, Ed. Ed is the Director of Operations for Banyan Systems in Canada and Latin America. Coming up next, we're going to sit down and go over some of the fundamentals about what's involved in designing and setting up your own home office on Computer Insider.
This top marketing executive prepares himself for the demands of today's business with his new Sharp electronic organizer. He has accelerated to the top through careful planning and organization, but he doesn't keep it all in his head. Instead, his competitive advantage is at hand. Always with him, ready with the information most needed, and sometimes with what's needed most. Sharp electronic organizers.
If you want to attract more business, you've got to work together. We all have our own special visions of where we want to be and how we want to work, wherever we are. At AST, we build computers to meet your worldview with award-winning products, service, and support. From notebooks to super servers, AST Computer. You'll like the way we work.
I was recently speaking at a computer show, and one of the people after the conference came up and asked me about what I thought the fundamentals were in setting up a home office. Well, the first thing that sprung to mind was this whole concept of communications, the ability for your clients or potential clients to reach you directly. And many people that I bumped into have been setting up things like voicemail and whatnot, which is becoming quite a scourge in modern business because so many people are using it as a reason not to answer the phone. There is a couple of systems out there which I thought would be worth looking at initially if you're setting up your own home office. The first is called the Prime service from Bell Canada, and there are variations that run with Bell Mobility and with Rogers Cantel. But the Bell system is the one I'm most familiar with, and basically what it does is it gives you the opportunity to route your calls to wherever you happen to be, and you can make those changes while you're on the move. So let's say that you wanted to work from your office, you could have the system send all the calls to your office and have it announced to your prospects that way. If you happen to be driving in your car, it would route the calls to your car and whatnot. Future evolutions will allow you to be able to receive faxes through the same system. After that, I think you've got to go and look at the technology that you're using. The basic home office today should be equipped as a minimum with a 4666 level computer, 8 megabyte of memory, something in excess of 300 megabytes of hard disk, and remember, with the hard disk, the more the merrier, so if you can get up to 500 or 600 megabyte, that's also very good. You should also have a fax modem running at least 14.4. In fact, at this point in technology, you might be further ahead to spend a few extra dollars and get a hold of what they call a 28.8 V34 modem. 28.8 V34. Jot it down because that is the next standard that's going to come. With these tools, you should be able to sit back and get your business up and going with a minimal hassle. For Computer Insider, I'm Bob Pritchard.
Computer Insider has been brought to you by AST Computer. You'll like the way we work. Sharp Electronics. From sharp minds come sharp products.